Meghan Markle is trending again. Shocking, right? But this time, it's not for a new project or another charming public appearance. No, this time it's all falling apart. What was meant to be a powerful, relatable moment in an Instagram video turned into a massive PR disaster. And the fallout? Well, it's been swift, chaotic, and it's turning into a full-blown career meltdown. So, what went wrong? Let's dive in.
These two have sold their souls, and they've sold Harry's family down the river. It's unforgivable, and it will leave a bitter taste in the mouths of millions of people. So we can hear from those PAs, who I know at least one of them was regularly reduced to tears by the bullying from Meghan Markle. And if Meghan doesn't think she did bully, she can sue me, because I've said it.
Meghan Markle thought she had the perfect opportunity to show the world a more personal side of herself. A fun, quirky, and relatable mother, still in touch with her sense of humor. Her Instagram video was meant to empower, to connect, and remind everyone that she was still relevant. But instead of getting the positive reaction she expected, it was met with confusion and criticism. The video, full of awkward dance moves and what appeared to be a very questionable baby bump, left people with more questions than answers. Was it real? Was it a stunt? Was it just badly timed? Instead of getting a warm, relatable vibe, viewers were left cringing, asking what they just watched. The video had a try-hard energy that felt forced and off-putting. Instead of laughing with her, people were raising eyebrows, wondering if she was out of touch with reality. The backlash was swift. It wasn't just the usual trolls online either. Major executives at Netflix and Paramount were reportedly scrambling behind the scenes, trying to distance themselves from the PR nightmare. What was meant to be a powerful, relatable moment had turned into a full-blown disaster, and Meghan, it seems, was caught in the middle of it. As the backlash from Meghan's video intensified, it didn't take long for the studios to take notice and panic. Netflix, where Meghan had her docuseries With Love Meghan, found itself in the middle of a PR storm it didn't sign up for. Greg Peters, the CEO, reportedly wasn't having it. Behind closed doors, he was pushing back hard, questioning whether this partnership was still worth the risk. Even Ted Sarandos, who had been more sympathetic toward Meghan in the past, began second-guessing his stance. This wasn't just a momentary blip. It was a full-on crisis. When your biggest platform starts to feel embarrassed by your public image, it signals trouble. Meanwhile, Paramount wasted no time in severing ties completely, choosing to avoid the storm altogether. Other studios? They were either ghosting her or slowly backing away, careful not to get dragged into the drama cloud following Meghan. It became clear the magic she once had was fading fast. What was supposed to be a big power move with her video only exposed the truth. Meghan Markle's public image, once an asset, was quickly becoming a liability. And the industry wasn't going to sit idly by while her career spiraled out of control. Instead of quietly taking a step back, Meghan doubled down. In the face of the growing backlash, she released a statement trying to explain the purpose behind her viral video. According to her, the whole thing was about proving herself to critics who doubted her abilities as a mother. She claimed it was a way to show that motherhood hadn't taken away her sense of humor or personality, that she was still fun, still relevant, and still had something to say. But here's the problem. Just because you say something with conviction doesn't mean people are going to buy it. The internet saw a woman who was trying too hard to be quirky and inspirational at the same time. Her explanation only seemed to highlight how out of touch she was with her audience. Instead of rallying people around her, it left fans scratching their heads. Those who once defended her were now questioning what they had been supporting. Even the reaction to her Netflix series, With Love Meghan Season 2, couldn't escape the fallout. Test screenings were a disaster, with some calling it unwatchable. Fans, once loyal, now seemed uninterested. It was clear, the more Meghan spoke, the more her public image slipped further away from the sympathetic figure she once was. Meghan didn't stop there. In an attempt to salvage the situation, she framed the entire Instagram fiasco as a public service announcement to parents everywhere. She said it was meant to highlight the power of motherhood and how so many people lose their joy and humor after becoming parents. She positioned herself as the symbol of lighthearted, fun parenting. Even though it felt completely out of touch, her message may have sounded noble on paper, but it didn't resonate. Instead of empowering parents, it alienated them. The way Meghan spoke about motherhood came across as self-absorbed, like she was delivering a lecture rather than sharing an experience. And let's be honest, people weren't buying it. How could they when it sounded like someone who has a full-time nanny and a multi-million-dollar estate telling them to just have fun with their kids? Meghan's attempts to connect with everyday parents fell flat, and instead of seeming relatable, she came off as tone-deaf. Her words felt like a performance, as if she was trying to convince the world that she was just like everyone else, when in reality, her life was worlds apart from the struggles of average parents. It wasn't uplifting. It felt like a misstep that only pushed her further from the audience she was trying to reach. As Meghan's attempts to defend herself became more desperate, the fallout from both the public and the industry only intensified. Fans who had once championed her started to turn their backs. Social media, which used to be filled with heart emojis and praise for her authenticity, was now flooded with criticism. Supporters who once reposted her interviews and praised her for being real were deleting their posts and quietly jumping ship. The signs were unmistakable. When your most loyal followers begin to distance themselves, it's a massive red flag. Behind the scenes, the tension within Netflix continued to rise. Executives, once willing to overlook the controversies, were now questioning whether they could continue backing her. The test screenings for With Love. Meghan Season 2 had reportedly been a disaster. Audiences were not impressed. Some even called it unwatchable. Netflix, once her stronghold, was now caught in a tough spot. Do they continue with a show that can't even maintain the core audience it was created for? The answer seemed to be no, but they were stuck in limbo, unsure whether to cut ties or give her another shot. Meanwhile, even in the public eye, late-night talk shows started poking fun at Meghan. The same media outlets that used to protect her were now treating her like tabloid fodder. The reality was setting in. Meghan Markle's public image was unraveling, and it was becoming harder for her to find any safe ground. Meghan Markle's defiance only seemed to drive her further into isolation. Rather than acknowledging the mounting criticism and taking a more reflective approach, she doubled down. Recently, she went on a solo podcast-style monologue. No interviewer, just her speaking into the mic for nearly an hour. She spent much of it talking about how the world hasn't seen the real Meghan yet, as though she was gearing up for some kind of redemption arc. But instead of a self-aware reflection, it felt like more of the same. Meghan insisting everyone else was wrong and didn't understand her. She leaned heavily into the narrative that it was her purpose to teach others how to parent. But let's be real. Advice on parenting from someone living in a gated estate with a full staff, media handlers, and a multi-million-dollar lifestyle didn't exactly resonate with the average parent. The more she talked, the less relatable she became. What made things worse was her desperation to stay relevant. Instead of listening to the growing chorus of criticism, Meghan was still trying to push for more projects. She was reportedly pitching ideas to MTV and Disney, hoping to land another big opportunity. But with her public image in freefall, it's clear that the industry is now more hesitant than ever to work with her. Meghan's isolation isn't just emotional, it's professional too. Behind the scenes, the tension at Netflix was reaching a boiling point. The streaming giant had invested heavily in Meghan Markle with her docuseries With Love Meghan, but now things were falling apart. Greg Peters, Netflix's CEO, was reportedly furious with the backlash surrounding Meghan and the disastrous response to her recent video. Insiders say that Peters was rallying internally, trying to distance the platform from her as quickly as possible. The drama surrounding Meghan had become a public relations nightmare, and no one at Netflix seemed eager to be associated with it anymore. Ted Sarandos, Netflix's chief content officer, had been one of Meghan's few remaining defenders, even through all the controversies. But even he was starting to crack under the pressure. Sources said that Sarandos, while still hesitant to completely sever ties, was beginning to question whether continuing to back Meghan was worth the damage to Netflix's image. The board itself was divided, with some wanting to cut their losses and cancel the second season of With Love Meghan outright, while others hoped to hold on and wait for a shift in public sentiment. Spoiler alert, it didn't happen. Internally, the test screenings for Season 2 were a disaster. The episodes were described as hollow, self-indulgent, and tone-deaf. Viewers, including Meghan's most loyal fans, were disappointed. It's hard to imagine any company in the entertainment industry, particularly one as high-profile as Netflix, continuing to invest in a project that can't even keep its core audience engaged. For Netflix, it was becoming less about loyalty to Meghan and more about cutting ties with a sinking ship. Meghan Markle's attempt at a comeback has quickly turned into a public unraveling. Despite her constant insistence that she's misunderstood and on the brink of a redemption arc, the reality is much harsher. The more she speaks, the more damage she does to her image. Fans who once supported her have started to turn their backs. The media has shifted from defending her to using her as a punchline. And even the platforms that helped elevate her are now distancing themselves. What's left is a slow, inevitable collapse, one that's been building for months. The failed Instagram video was just the tipping point, but the deeper issues, her tone-deaf messaging, her inability to connect with her audience, and her refusal to acknowledge her privilege, have piled up, making it harder for her to recover. At this point, there's no calculated comeback or sudden wave of sympathy on the horizon. Meghan Markle is now a professional risk, a public liability, and the industry knows it. The quiet, hesitant energy surrounding With Love. Meghan Season 2 says it all. Without any real promotion, and with Netflix's internal divisions growing by the day, the show's future looks bleak. Meghan may still be shouting into the void, but it's clear. No one's listening anymore. The final nail in the coffin has been driven, and it's unlikely she'll recover from this one.